So anyway, I wanted to introduce our next speaker. Tom McLaughlin has been coming to Boston DevOps for a while. He is our resident thought leader, also employed at ThreatStack. So he's going to talk to us about secrets management when you're not ready.
Yes.
For vaults, parentheses, or Conjur. So it's going to be fantastic. He gave a talk before. It was like a lightning talk, right? Yeah, and it was hilarious. It was, what do you do when you're an engineer?
Oh,
Yeah.
and then support
Anyway.
sales and yep.
Prepare to be engaged and amused.
Wow.
And
Yes.
wow.
So without further ado, Tom, take it away.
All right, there's more for me to live up to this time. All right, all right, Ops Genie, you hear me in the back? We all good? Yes. There we go. Okay, we fixed that issue. All right, so I'm Tom McLaughlin. I'm our engineering advocate over at ThreatStack. We're a cloud security SaaS company. We tell you who did what when within your environment. And what I'm here to talk to you about tonight is iterative security and taking that in terms of secrets management when you're not ready for Vault or Conjur. And I want to emphasize the iterative security part. I changed the focus of the presentation from what's actually on the agenda because as I started writing this, the secrets management part wasn't the actual interesting part of what I was writing. And what I'm going to talk about is actually based on experiences in my career. So, all right, no new amazing technology is going to be discussed here. Technology really isn't the problem. We have really good technology for managing secrets. Vault and Conjur exist. They work well. They're really cool. Let's see if I can actually animate this one. But there's a lot of work for us to do. We take the fire and just put it over with the other fires. I have a lot of work to do that is important. And what's more important to security? How about keeping the site up? Okay, been there. One job, usually around 10:30 a.m., a certain time zone would wake up and start crushing our site and knocking us offline. Okay. Secrets management systems, they can be complicated systems to understand. They take time to understand and set up, and not everyone has the time to really just deal with that right there. So for many of us, this is what we end up looking like. User, password, the database. There we go. Secrets living in code. And you laugh, but your friend next to you might actually be dealing with that. Again, this is another thing I have seen. Database passwords, third-party services and tokens. Yeah, you guys are just kind of like, Yep. We don't usually like to talk about it or admit it, but it does happen.
At least it's asking, it's not in the clear.
So we have all this technology, but why do these problems still exist? And this is how we usually present security to people. This is where you start, and that's the next step. Okay, there is no in between. There's a lot of assumed knowledge to get you from two circles to that. And what that really ends up leading to usually is what we call security paralysis. We don't have a clue what to do. We don't know how to get from points A to B. And given 8 other priorities on our list, we're going to do what we can actually accomplish. The stuff that we're actually rewarded for. Many of us aren't rewarded actually for security. We're penalized if something happens, but if nothing happens, we're okay. And as long as we're delivering value that we're getting measured by, we're cool. Some of the things you end up, as an ops person responsible for in the security world, access controls. How much is too much access, okay? Do you want to open up everything to everybody just so they can get their job done and potentially get you exposing sensitive information to the wrong people, or do you want to make everyone have to ask for permission just to work? Password policies. Do I force a password rotation every 90 days or only when there is an incident necessitating a password change? There is conflicting guidance on this, depending upon what guidance you read. It might be 90 days, it might be never change. Okay? And Patching, do I patch immediately from a vendor, when the vendor releases it, or do I take some time and actually test things and make sure they're not going to knock out production? So with all those questions, good luck, we're all counting on you. We've put this all into your hands, and now go forward and be secure. I am not a security person whatsoever. I'm an ops person that has had to deal with security throughout my career, because whether it was there was no security team, or security's coming to me, saying you need to do this, we need some sort of compliance or so forth. Rather than throwing more technology at the problems, I want to address the people side. And so I mentioned I'm an engineering advocate. I came out of operations into this role, and much of my job is to actually talk to people, listen to them, and go, what are the actual things that you're facing and you have questions about? What are the things you really want to solve and get done? And this actually comes up. I just want to be able to do this better than what we have, okay? So that's where we have, the idea of iterative security. We want to get you started, okay? We just want you, taking a look at your environment and catching all the basics. Are your security do you have security groups that are just wide open to the world? Do you have S3 buckets that are just, again, wide open to the world? Do they contain secrets in them? And then next thing you know, well, yes, there have been some incidents with that. Let's start with the low-hanging fruit and kind of just work our way up. So why aren't many of us better at security? Shiny objects, okay? We get all excited about security, and some shiny object just comes along and just distracts us. Here's some of the things that we get excited about. 0 days, okay? I showed up to work today, and no one expects it. Here comes the 0 day. The day when I sit down and great, now I got to disrupt my day. Now I got to take care of this. I couldn't find a good logo for a recent 0 day, so I just went with Monty Python.
That's a good logo.
Thank you. I wasn't sure if that was considered a 0 day, because didn't they patch it before?
No.
No.
It existed for about 8 hours.
All right, perfect. That was my first one. I wasn't sure of the timeline. All right, so next, hash collisions, or any other sort of cryptographic weakness. Shattered. We have 2 PDF files that are different, but they produce the same SHA-1. And oh my gosh, so maybe someone is going to poison, the Linux kernel repo because it's related with, it's dealing with SHA-1. Maybe it's going to be the CIA, NSA, or DOD that's going to do it to us, okay? And again, finally, logos. We love logos. What are the latest things that people on Twitter, Slack, and IRC are talking about, when it comes to security? So yeah, Heartbleed, there was Drown, Image Tragic. I don't even remember what HTTP POC even was, but it has a logo. Things we don't get excited about. Not leaving MongoDB exposed to the internet with weak credentials. Not leaving Elasticsearch exposed to the internet with weak credentials after you just moved MongoDB.
What do you got next? Reddit?
When they got to MySQL, I just went ahead and warned the Postgres community that they're next. I figured that was me being proactive with security. So for many of us, we focus on the wrong things. There are many people that legitimately need to focus on 0 days and these logo vulnerabilities. But for many of us, we might have been discussing APTs and the DNC hack and what the threat was to us, and yet again, MongoDB is sitting out there exposed to the internet, and great, now our cloud connected teddy bear, that database has been ransomed. It was Cloud Pets or something like that. It was an IoT teddy bear or something. Yep. So, back to that owl, okay? Start, finish. This is really how we really should be, teaching you to embrace security. Okay, what are you trying to do? Are you trying for a headshot? This side view, this frontal view. Where do you start? Where are you actually along here? And then just, okay, how do you progress to what you're actually trying to accomplish? And we can find a lot of stuff on the perimeter, like on the edges. We can find works on my machine, okay? And then we can find works at big large company, and it was like, published in some sort of paper. Okay, great. For a lot of us, we exist somewhere in the middle, okay? And many of us are definitely, living right over here, where, we've graduated past it works on my machine, and we're actually now a company, and we kind of need to actually do a few sort of things to, get us past and actually act like a real company. So just a little bit to the right or left, whatever side that is from your view, my view, just a little bit past there. So we know what not to do. We think we know where we need to be, but we don't know how to get there. And so what we're going to do is apply this whole idea of iterating on security to secrets management. Again, we know what not to do. Put passwords, API keys, tokens, etc. directly into our code base. Yes, there we go. You're one slide ahead. Yes?
That's a failure in systems architecture.
This is a random screenshot I found explaining the Tumblr hack from 2011. All right, okay, let's solve this like it's a real problem at work. I know you're all happy that you have left the office and we're gonna go play work right now. So everyone put your smiles on. We're gonna impose some sort of constraints on our decision. In particular, time. How long is it going to take us to actually get this done? Complexity. How hard is this to do? How well can we actually understand what we're building? And finally, failure risk. What happens if what we're building, and then once it's in production, what happens when it fails? And these are all just normal constraints that we face anytime we build and run systems. So this was from a Reddit thread. This entire presentation is actually based off some blog posts that I had. I like posting this stuff on Reddit. Time. By the way, I actually talked to him. I actually know him from Hangops now. He was like, it's going to take me, it's going to literally take him a few months to get Vault or Conjur up and running. And no, not at all. Just do the perfect thing. Just spend all the time that you can on doing the right thing. And he's honest. He's like, yeah, I'll eventually get to it, but it's number 9 of my what is it? But it's like number 9 of my number 1 priorities. Okay, he has tons of priorities, and this is just one of them. Okay, he has to sit there and pick and choose his battles. And again, he's judged on new systems he deploys, systems to tune, systems to fix. He's got tools to build. Like, those are his KPIs. Whether or not secrets management, that's maybe why it's maybe not as high. Complexity. Vault looks simple. I read the docs. Maybe I'll go read a blog post, and this weekend out to production. Done. No, I read the docs too. How are we going to handle the master encryption key? Where is that going to be stored? Who's going to have access to that? What happens when the vault gets sealed? How do you respond to that sort of stuff? What sort of storage backend is the backend that actually works best for your environment? How are you going to auth the vault? Like, these are actual questions you have to ask. You don't just sit there and read a blog and say, okay, ship it. And finally, risk of failure. It's all code, and we monitor it using Nagios. So for any possibility of failure, just put a Nagios check on there, and you're good to go. So, okay, back to our constraints. We're going to aim for something that we can implement in a few days to a few weeks. The faster we can get this done, the more likely we're actually going to finish it and accomplish something. Longer a project takes, the more interrupts we have, the more other demands happen. Next thing you know, it's a few months out, you haven't even touched this. You know, you got like a month in, put it down because some other thing went on fire, and fire. Complexity, we're going to go with what we know. I'm a big fan of less surprises and less to learn and get things wrong. If you have something that's on fire and you have a lot to do, you know what? Maybe just rely on what you already know just to get a little bit further ahead. And then finally, risk, we're moving fast, and let's try and contain this blast radius in case, or when something goes wrong. Let's just assume something's going to go wrong. So we're going to apply this. So again, secrets management if you're not using Vault or Conjur. Git-crypt. I know, it's such a letdown. Like they're talking about getting all your stuff out of repos, and I'm just kind of like, just at least get it into git-crypt, okay? Like, find your secrets, rotate them, encrypt them, and store them, okay? At the very least, you have now just gone through your code and audit and found all the dead bodies, okay? Like, you're just looking around, just going, all right, I didn't realize that existed there. Awesome. You've gone from the worst possible step to at least like a few steps forward. Yes, there are issues. Symmetric encryption. Okay, everyone needs the freaking master password that needs to use that repo. And so you know what? Your to-do, after you've gotten this in place, okay, down the road, we have to work on preventing key proliferation, and we're probably going to throw this out. We're probably going to say, okay, we're better, and next time, the next time we have cycles for this, we're going to look at Vault or Conjur. Configuration management, Puppet. This was the first time this was the first thing I ever used to actually take care of secrets when I had a Puppet. I had a Puppet code base, secrets all over the place. Great. Hire an EM. Public key encryption, multiple backends. Love it. You've centralized your secrets into one repo. They're at least not now all in several repos. We had our Puppet repo locked down, so only a few of us actually had access to it. Public key encryption support. Okay, it's better. It's better than having shared password and so forth. The cons we had were rolling Puppet masters. We had to be able to shoot them at will. That was just a requirement in our environment, and having to go on and having them add the private key to all these instances. Yes, that was a pain. I actually solved that at one point, but for the most part, most people end up having to get on there manually. Chatted with the author briefly, and again, he's like, I just never even thought about that. He's like, I just thought, Puppet Master will run, and there we go. I didn't really think about how we keep getting the secret key over. So your to-dos. What do you do when you need to actually rekey everything? Okay, you need to rekey. You need to also roll. Every time you rekey, you're going to need to actually roll those passwords, because the issue is this. Okay, you're worried about that your key has left the building. What if they have access again to you've rolled it? What if somebody has access to the history and they can just check out the older version? Great. Now they can use the key that you thought you've gotten rid of. Ansible encrypts your var files in a playbook. Actually, this reads just mostly like git-crypt. Again, you've done your exercise of auditing your code base, your cons, symmetric encryption, to-dos, again, preventing the proliferation of the vault key, and rekeying and rolling secrets. S3 buckets. There was Sneaker and ThreatStack that I spent the most time with Sneaker. Encrypt and store and retrieve your secrets from S3. So your pros are, you've actually at least gotten them out of GitHub. They're not living up in like, your public GitHub, so that's good. I mean, you may pay for at least, private repos, but again, they're leaving the building. You may not be happy with that, or you may be fine. We've reduced, the sort of secrets proliferation. Both Sneaker and ThreatStack have support for KMS, so they are actually, your secrets are at least, no?
ThreatStack does not store keys in S3. DynamoDB.
Okay, thank you. There we go, correction there. So, but it does do it,
KMS.
yes. Perfect, there we go. Finally, cons. Are you managing your S3 buckets? How are you managing your S3 buckets? Is somebody in the console creating them and managing them by hand? Are you just using AWS CLI still? Your to-do, if this is the way that you want to go, is to say, okay, I at least want to make sure that our buckets are being properly managed. So maybe one of our next projects is to take a look at CloudFormation or Terraform to make sure that we can ensure the permissions on these buckets where our secrets live. So what should we have all gotten out of this presentation, besides a good enough? We want to focus less on this, okay? Sure, it's a really sweet car. Sure, it's really fast. It's also on fire, okay? It's really not useful. Got someone taking a picture. And we want to be more like this, okay? This we can actually manage. I want someone to roll into work tomorrow and try and put out a garbage fire. That's what I want someone to do tomorrow. And so finally, yes, you can do this. Nothing here was particularly earth-shattering technology. But again, go in, make your iterative change. Make your changes to prod on a Friday and leave for the weekend. Go for it. Thank you. Any questions?